sunflower shotgun power. Ollie Williams is in South Africa, keeping the doves from above off the crops. Super final shoot-off. We have all the star action from the English Open Sporting Championships. Plus, to panic buy or not to panic buy, we ask the trade if the shotgun and cartridge supply chain is broken. We have news, we have hunting YouTube from South Africa. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. It's a pigeon paradise and Ollie Williams is well out of his comfort zone. He's left Bodmin in Cornwall for Bloemfontein in South Africa for a week's hunting. This morning it's a sunflower and maize crop protection job.
The only way it was like a British Pigeon Day is the fact the birds look similar in the air in terms of the shape.
Jamming up, it's getting warm.
They're like wood pigeons on steroids. As soon as you pop up, you know, like a wood pigeon would see, you would change direction. These things change direction and either fly directly at you or supersonic the wrong way, and they're incredibly agile, which makes for incredibly testing shooting, but also you've got to be very careful because a safe bird can very quickly become a dangerous bird. It was purely on flight lines. Any pigeon shooting I've ever done has always been in the UK, and we've always ended up spending a meticulous amount of time setting out the decoys, building a beautiful hide, and then firing about 3 cartridges.
See, that's outrageous.
The numbers were much bigger. I mean, certainly in Cornwall, you don't get any pigeons at all, really. So I've over more pigeons over the last couple of days than I've ever shot in my entire life.
Over the past 2 decades, crop protection has become more important in this region as the pigeon and dove numbers have boomed. They can strip acres of seeds in just a few sittings.
They nest in the cities. Human beings have developed the perfect environment for them, where they've got nooks and crannies in the cities to nest in, and then basically feasts in terms of sunflower seeds and maize all around the city. So it's the perfect storm for a population boom, which is what they've now got here. They fly out the cities with the doves and then come in on the sunflower seeds, which there are thousands and thousands of acres of, and also the maize. There were a few areas where fresh sowing had to be re-drilled because as the I think it was about 100 acres at one point, the doves just come in and mob-handed and just completely cleared all the drilling out, and the farmers had to reseed it. The rock pigeons used to be quite rare, and people were you shouldn't really shoot at them or shouldn't shoot them, and that was only 20 years ago. And they're now quite literally probably millions of them, and they've got a real problem around here.
These don't look like traditional British woodies.
We were shooting rock pigeons and we were shooting doves of, I think they've got 3 species of dove. There's a collared, turtle, and there's another one which is tiny. As soon as I turned around and said the doves were protected in the UK, the PHs was with me actually burst out laughing because the numbers they have here. So
I'll finish that sentence for him. Numerous. What else is flying?
The doves were probably as good, if not better, than the pigeons in terms of they were just coming on a steady line. You had every kind of bird, at every height you could properly shoot at, which was great for my shooting skills in terms of honing them, but awful for my shoulder. My PH was loading for me, basically.
How did you get on with it?
Very well. No, young guy, Gideon, he was a really nice chap. So I think he's used to clients that haven't shot birds before, because I think he was quite impressed by him. Said, well, you're English, you're very good at shooting birds. So I think he's blowing my ego, to be honest with you. So he's going to get a good tip at the end of the day. That's the most important thing. He was just sort of passing me cartridges as opposed to actually loading your gun. I'd like to come back with a pair and a loader. That would be quite special. A gun's a gun, and as long as it puts the birds on the floor, that's the most important thing.
So, having never shot a semi-auto before, Ollie's count is pretty good.
First, I'd say 100 cartridges. It took me a while to get onto them, but when I was on them, even though I say so myself, I shot rather well.
I'm miles away.
I was probably lurking around the 1 in 2.5.
Okay, 5 to 1. Well done.
Yeah. Generous. We walked into a sunflower field and said, yeah, this will do. Stand here. And it's basically, as he was putting me out, there were birds flying all over the place. I was using a semi-auto, which I haven't really used properly before, so that was a learning curve of loading that and how that works, and it was just fast and furious, red hot barrel from the start. That went on for about 2 hours, and then that line started to sort of slow down as they moved, and then we moved to the chap said we had to wait until the school we were going to shoot beside broke up for the day. So when the kids had all gone home, and we were literally stood beside the playground and in a line, and the doves were coming down the line of the hedge, and then we shot till dusk, or until our shoulders were too sore to carry on.
As with most African shooting, nothing goes to waste here.
All of the doves, this is a fantastic part, there is literally a queue of people behind your peg, locals, and the picker-uppers or the guys who pick up for you, they have huge bags full of the doves, and they line them all out for the photograph for the hunters, and then literally give all of them to the locals. Yeah, if you do get a chance, it's not quite as far as Argentina, and the flights aren't really expensive at all. Bloemfontein's an easy hop from Johannesburg. If you get a chance to come down, or you fancy a little trip, definitely give them a look, because it's well worth it. Well worth it.
Now some thanks. Thanks to Ely Cartridges. It turns out they work in Africa as well as the UK. Thanks also to Gideon and Kotoko Hunting for hosting the day. And thanks to our camera person on the day, Kayla van Vuren, who does the filming for Northern Cape Professional Hunters School. There's links to all of them in the description below. Well done, Ollie. And yes, we are having a marvellous time. Thank you for asking. We're also trying out the £600 scope that we're giving away in our prize draw on Fieldsports Extra. If you want to find out how to enter that draw, the easiest way is to become a member of the Fieldsports Nation. Click on the link in the description below. Now, from Wish You Were Here to Bitter Man over there, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. The European government's plan to ban lead shot has hit a bump. It's been accused of bias because it failed to share data submitted as part of the 2021 public consultation on game meat lead content and its risk to human health. The European Ombudsman has now recognised a case of maladministration by the European Food Safety Authority. The ruling follows a complaint by FACE, the European Federation of Hunting and Conservation. It's now calling on the public consultation to be reopened. 30 guinea pig carcasses have been found buried at the entrance of a badger set. The RSPCA said the guinea pigs were discovered by members of the Wirral and Cheshire Badger Group. The find was reported to Cheshire Police's Rural Crime Team. Reports of the incident state it remains unclear whether the find is linked to the badger cull. How is not made clear. A clay ground is under fire for asking to upscale its operation. Harborough Rocks Clay Pigeon Shoot in Derbyshire now has permission to shoot 215 days, up from 28, including 27 days of competition shooting. More than 40 residents and several parish councils had objected to the increase. However, the council heard the range supports a host of local suppliers, and a recent charity event raised £10,500. A wolf has gone on a killing spree in a French nature reserve. The wolf killed 17 sheep and left other animals seriously injured. The attack is the first of its kind in the region, and it raises concerns with local communities about the viability of living in close proximity to wolf populations. A dog in North California has been injured after it protected its owner from a mountain lion attack. The big cat attacked the woman as she was walking along the Trinity River in California. Eva, the Belgian Malinois, who was walking ahead, turned and sprang to her owner's defence. Local police say that Eva probably saved the woman's life. Hunting mountain lions in the state was banned in 1990. A schoolboy has set a new record after catching a fish that's as big as he is. 11-year-old Callum Pettit from Kent caught this 7-stone carp near Rheims in France, the biggest ever for a junior angler. The fish, nicknamed Big Girl, went for Callum's special banoffee flavoured bait. A university lecturer is suing her travel agency after she claims she was chased and trampled by an elephant. Sarah Graves from Canada is suing Yellow Zebra Travel for £200,000 after the holiday in Tanzania in 2019. She told the High Court in London the attack took place within the confines of the camp, and it left her with a broken pelvis and emotionally scarred. Attacks on tourists are rare. However, as we reported last week, elephants have killed 60 people so far this year in Zimbabwe, compared to 72 during the whole of 2021. It's hoped conservation corridors will save the most endangered hoofed animal in South America. Only 1,500 Patagonian huemul remain, but a new land link is being created to save the deer that features on Chile's coat of arms. Also known as a South Andean deer, they exist in several fragmented groups of 101 known subpopulations, with 60% of these comprising of only 10 to 20 individuals, making them susceptible to freak weather events. They also suffer from poor genetic diversity. Cat owners in the German town of Walldorf have been ordered to keep their pets indoors until the 4th of August. The move is designed to help save the crested lark, which is a ground nesting bird and is therefore easy prey for feline hunters. The bird's population in Western Europe has declined sharply in recent decades. Owners risk a fine of €500 if their cat is found roaming outside, and could be slapped with a penalty of up to €50,000 if their pet injures or kills a crested lark. And finally, Curlew Cam 2022 is now live. The Curlew Country video feed gives viewers a ringside view as these ground nesting birds try to keep their eggs and chicks safe. Curlew Country says it has a pragmatic and trailblazing approach to curlew recovery and has demonstrated the need for predator control as a vital part of that. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Next, High Lodge in Suffolk hosted the English Sporting Championships at the weekend with a Super All-Star final. James Marchington was there.
It's springtime in Suffolk. The sun's shining and clay shooters are converging on the lovely surroundings of High Lodge to shoot the CPSA's first major sporting championship of the year, the English Open. Edward King is here with sponsors Rizzini, and he couldn't be happier.
Enjoying the sunshine here, and a bit of pleasant breeze, very nice targets. Everyone who's come off the course has had a great time. Had a lot of positive comments about that. Rizzini once again, and ASI, main sponsors of the competition. This year we're very fortunate. We've got Sergio here from the Rizzini factory. There are few people who are as good as he is at actually setting up and fettling the detachable trigger mechanisms and generally servicing these guns. So anyone who happens to have a Rizzini and who turns up here can have a free service and have their gun looked at, and if anything needs doing, then we'll do it for them. Ottimo. Mille grazie, Sergio.
Out on the 120 target course, the clays are flying and everyone's in good spirits. The CPSA's Ian Parker says it shows the sport's bouncing back after a difficult couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic affected all of us, you know, across our lives, affected our business, our sport, affected the association for sure. And yes, you know, we've come back from it strong. I think whether you look at the number of people shooting, the number of new people coming into the sport, our memberships bounced back. It did go down for obvious reasons during the pandemic. But no, I think the sport's, you know, coming back in a good way. And you look at the grounds, you know, places, you know, like here at High Lodge, and the amount of investment that they're putting into both their grounds and the sport. I think, you know, the future is bright. You know, we've got issues for sure, the economy for one, and rising prices. You know, but I think, you know, where we look where the sport will be in the future is something that we're very focused on.
Top of the leaderboard is current world champion George Digweed, who's shot a fantastic 116 out of 120, followed by Phil Gray, just one target behind. Ground owner John Bidwell says he doesn't set out to make the targets hard for the top shots. It's all about making the shoot enjoyable for everyone.
We know that all the top shooters are going to be up there anyway, and that doesn't matter. Look, people like to break clays. Even the top shooters, they want to go out there and shoot 120. That's what their aim is. You get the lot. And they might do it, it's possible. But they very rarely do it. And 120 targets with 15 stands, it's a difficult on its own, regardless of the targets, what they are. You've still got to concentrate for 15 stands, and it's not easy. The course is not set up for extreme distance or anything like that. I always try and maintain a course for speed and angle, and that will catch people out. They don't have to be out there a long way to beat people. You can beat someone just on a small target, as people have discovered through this shoot again. We haven't put them out extremely long, and you don't need it. And I had a girl came up to me yesterday, and she was jumping up and down with joy. And I said, "What, were you straight?" She said, "No, I hit 2." And she said, "But I'm so pleased." And I thought, blimey, she's missed 6, but she's really enjoying it, and she's hit 2. And that's what it's all about.
Billy Bourne has put in a very respectable 105, but he feels he could have done better.
Yeah, it's a good little shoot. You know, there's a bit of everything, isn't there? Yeah, I enjoyed it. Just didn't shoot very well. You can't shoot well all the time. Well, it'd be nice to.
Billy's shooting his trusty Maruku MK38.
It's a trap gun, but with multi-choke barrels. I've shot Marukus, well, forever really, since I started. So 8 or 9 years. They do the job perfectly. My maintenance isn't as good as some people's, as a lot of people know, but I've literally never had a single problem. It's still on the original pins. It's never had a spring. It's faultless, to be honest. I wouldn't change. Well, not that, you know, thinking about maybe a heritage for the next one. I don't know, something a little bit different, but still a Browning.
Billy's not the sort to chop and change his teague chokes to suit the targets.
I shoot the same chokes, everything. I'll shoot one shot size and one cartridge at absolutely everything.
That view is endorsed by Rodrigo Crespo, managing director of another of the shoot sponsors, Ely Hawk.
You know what they say, if you are really into it, just focus on the shot and focus on the clay. Leave aside, when you're on the stage, you just have to think about the flow, the movement, you saw the clay, and stop thinking about the cartridge, stop thinking about the choke, just be focused and do your best, because you have been really practicing, you are really ready for it, you have nothing else to worry about. The cartridge is going to be there, and you know that you have got the ability just to smash them, so just go and have fun.
So, what cartridges would Rodrigo suggest for shooting an event like the English Open?
Oh, by all means, I will choose the Superbs. It's a huge cartridge, phenomenal range, 28 rounds, especially for sporting, and also for sure the VIP Federation. Though for top shooters, they will also always go for VIP sporting because they are the most reliable, always been around, and they are so effective that they will never let you down. Yeah.
As the last squads come in, George Digweed and Phil Gray still hold the lead, but there's 5 shooters tied on 113 for the remaining 4 places in the Super Final, and that means a shoot-off. Cheryl Hall has shot brilliantly to gain a place in the shoot-off, but she's knocked out, leaving the 6 finalists to battle it out for the English Open title. George Digweed goes in with a 1-target lead over Phil Gray. Most people's money would be on him or Richard Folds to win. Richard can't close that gap though, and George's lead slips away. Meanwhile, Paul Batchelor is quietly creeping up behind them. In the end, it all comes down to Paul's final pair. So George has to be content with 3rd place, with Phil Gray in 2nd.
Open champion goes to Paul Batchelor.
Yeah, I'm over the moon with it. Yeah, I really am. Yeah, it was a bit intense to come from behind, and George and Phil Gray were 2 and 3 in front of me, and to catch them up, it was really good. Yeah. And I knew the last pair, I needed to kill that to win it. And it happened. To beat the people who I've beat today, George, Richard, Phil, John Lee, you know, they're the best shots there is. I go all around the world, but never been in like a super final like this. And to beat them, it's, massive thing.
The clay season is certainly in good health and making up for lost time. One bump in the road is the supply chain for shooting kit. While James was at High Lodge, he spoke to members of the gun trade about whether or not you'll be getting your kit in time for Christmas.
Industry insiders are warning that shooters can expect price rises and shortages of guns and cartridges this season, and things are only going to get worse over the next 2 or 3 years. It's all due to a perfect storm hitting the gun trade, with rising costs, shortages of raw materials, and a massive increase in the red tape involved in shipping gun-related products to the UK. Filippo Adamati is export manager for Italian gunmakers Rizzini. He explains the problems he faces to Edward King of Rizzini's UK distributor, ASI.
Yes, for sure that the 2020 was a very, very difficult year, starting at the beginning of the year with 3 months of complete lockdown in Italy. So we started the year with a big delay for any kind of production. And then it takes also the Ukraine war that now is increasing this kind of problem. So more or less, we have no problem about the wood from Turkey, but the problem starts now for any kind of steel, any kind of metal. A lot of them, they come from Ukraine or Russia. So for sure in the next future there will be big delay on the main part of the gun. Probably, who knows, but for sure they move, for example, the barrel production from 2 months to 4 or 5 due to the lack of special steel on the market.
It's not just shortages of raw materials causing problems for gun makers. Energy costs are having a big impact too.
Any part of the gun is heated treated, so it means energy or gas. So we are talking about increasing price in Italy in this moment of 40, 50 or 75% in comparison to end of 2021. You have like 60, 70 parts in the diagram of the gun. So imagine a small cent every part. And then we are talking about 10, 20, 30 euros in building
costs, exactly. And at the moment then, if someone were to come and say, I would like to order a particular gun made to measure with my specifications, what sort of delivery time are we looking?
Well, you know, if this guy is lucky, we can use one of the gun already planned in production. So maybe in 90 days, 120 days, he can have the custom-made stock. Otherwise, we are talking summer 2023.
As if that wasn't enough, there are massive delays and red tape when it comes to shipping guns from one country to another.
By truck, it's impossible to think to come from Italy to UK by truck. It takes minimum 5-6 weeks time. In comparison with the past, it was like 1 week, 10 days. Then we have the booking of the flight, and the authority takes 2 or 3 weeks to give the authorization. Never happened in the past.
Yeah, and we've certainly found that permits, whether they are import or export licenses, are taking longer times to actually obtain.
Yes, because we have a general licensing for export to UK, and then we have to go to our local police. So it was very, very fast, and is a fast system. But then, without any reason, they can take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. So it's very difficult to plan or to say to the people, your gun will be in the next shipment, because we have a real problem with the bureaucracy of the authorities.
Yes, and that's not to mention when they get here, that the customs also are quite likely to delay them just for random
Yes,
checks.
you know, sometimes say, did you like the new gun? And so you say, which gun? And after 3 weeks, they're still at the customs.
The problems aren't confined to guns. Cartridge manufacturers are facing similar frustrations. Here's Rodrigo Crespo, Managing Director of cartridge company Ely Hawk.
Well, the last 2 years have been quite a bumpy road for all of us. We know that supply have been scarce, especially shipping rates have been skyrocketing 1 month after the other. And we also know that there have been severe delays just because some of the ports were collapsed because of the amount of wood they were bringing in and bringing out. Right now, the situation has slightly improved. However, there are some slight chances that we may have some issues in the future. Not massive issues, not from outside, but we understand that the general trade may be in a different situation than Ely Hawk ourselves.
CPSA Chief Executive Ian Parker remains positive about the future of the sport, despite the problems faced by his sponsors like Rizzini, Ely Hawk and Swatcom.
All of them, whether you're talking about headsets or whether you're talking about cartridges or whether you're talking about guns, they're all facing some of the same issues, whether it's supply issues, component issues, shipping costs, all those things. But they're resilient, they're finding the way through them. And I think probably the pandemic was part of that. They've had to find the way to do things differently and come through that. But, but all of them, one and all, are still reporting good sales. And, as I say, the numbers at grounds, when we're looking at our registered scores, are still very healthy. So no, I'm sort of very positive about, the future of our sport.
ASI's Edward King agrees that somehow or another, shooters and the trade that supplies them will find a way to carry on.
We still manage to do business. Business, it's one of those extraordinary things that business will be done one way or another. Where there is a will, there will be a way, and we have fortunately a great product that people are interested in buying. So they will give you a certain level of patience and understanding, and they are generally prepared to wait. It's frustrating for us as suppliers and frustrating for Filippo and Rizzini to find that the obstacles in the way of getting the product into the hands of the end user are quite often beyond their or our control.
Now, talking about kit, we are looking at some of our old films and producing some new films on specific topics, and we're calling them our Field Tester Fridays. Last Friday it was hunting boots, and among the films was this one from Paul Childerley, where we enter his boot cave with all his boot-related tips and tricks, including standing in streams. So keep an eye out for those. Next, from boots on the ground to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the top hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. TGS Outdoors is pheasant shooting at Gwasani Hall in North Wales. This is the same day we made our film about the shoot. The Danish spring season for roebuck started on the 16th of May 2022. On the morning of the 17th, Morten Schultz had some luck and shot a fine little 6-pointer. Thanks, Morten, for sending it in. John Robson from Yorkshire Deer Stalking had his mug on the BBC, interviewed about booming populations of deer ahead of the government announcing a Scotland-style mass cull of the animals. He uploads the results to YouTube. Sub 12-pound shooter is doing some corvid shooting over beaten up barley. Meanwhile, Corvid Hunter is on air rifle pest control, dealing with garden invaders who moved in while he was away recently. Hunting with Stu is back out on the quad bike. He's after hogs with what he calls the brothers and the old bloke. Our Spanish friend Pedro Ampuero is off to stalk an ibex. It's in English. As ever, it's hardcore mountain hunting. And finally, these are the people I'm filming this week, the lads and lasses of the Northern Cape Professional Hunter School in South Africa, in company with Ollie Williams. It's like a gamekeeping college, but with buffalo instead of pheasants. That's it for this week. I have put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the I symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page, and we'll contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain, it's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. Though this week I am in South Africa at the end of what has been a very successful day you'll see in a future episode. So from me, good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.